Something that we're going to be able to hear more from a CEO though, because I guess we might be able to see something from Elon eventually, maybe in another episode about what troubles he's going through right now. But Google's rolling out a bunch of stuff, and I believe he even talks about more other things. So let's actually let's actually, I'm gonna do this instead. We're gonna hear from his mouth first. So Alphabet CEO was recently interviewed, and it was a pretty good interview. I listened to it already to an extent. This is me actually going to be reacting to certain things he says, and then also we covered in a previous event about Gemini, Google basically changing Bard's name to Gemini, and we have some more news around that. So this is a whole nother section for Google and the whole interview and all of that. So let's just see how he's imagining and what he's thinking about this whole layoff process and things. It Google's been going through layoffs this year too. We discussed that in length what positions they are, between what their focusing is and stuff like that. So Sundar Pichai, he's gonna talk about some of the layoff stuff. As a actual CEO, I quite like him. I cannot say that for many, because I just haven't heard too many of them talk really. But him as a CEO, I quite like him. I think he's doing a better job than Elon is as being a CEO of a company. And we're gonna listen to this and hear out why.
I want to talk about TV and sports for a second, just because the Super Bowl is coming up, and there was a big deal that was made this week in the sports TV world. You've been running YouTube TV quite successfully, and of course, YouTube itself is now bigger than Netflix, a fact that I think most people don't focus on. What do you?
Netflix is so hyped that you have to remember where YouTube came from. YouTube is so global, Netflix is global too, but as far as users, I never believed Netflix had more users than YouTube does. Mind you, it's also easier because YouTube is free. He didn't say YouTube TV has more than Netflix. He just saying YouTube as a whole. YouTube is free. You don't need a subscription for that. So it brings a lot more people to it. Their platform and stuff. If Netflix was free, they would have a lot more users, of course, and things, but they have a different model. But them having this many users on their platform could potentially lead to their growth of YouTube TV equating to Netflix one day. That's a hot take. Clip it and post it, because I'm telling you, it's a possibility that that might actually happen. But let's hear more.
What do you think is going to happen to the cable bundle? You've been part of sort of keeping that bundle through YouTube TV. What do you think about this new bundle that Disney's creating with Warner Brothers, Discovery, and Fox?
First of all, I mean, these are some of our important valued partners, both on YouTube and YouTube TV, and I expect our partnerships to continue. Look, I think people are responding to how users are consuming all of this, right? And users are voting with their feet. The consumption patterns are clearly evolving. And I think you're seeing people adapt to that. So I'm excited to see what they put together. These are great organizations, and they are some of our valued partners too. As you said, YouTube TV has now over 8 million subscribers, and the work we have done with NFL on Sunday Ticket has been super.
I want to see something real quick. Sorry, he's not fully finishing. How much is a YouTube TV subscription? Because there's no way that's true. There's no way that's true. That's more than okay, so it Google's saying it's $73 per month. For first time customers, it could be 63 per month for 3 months. But that's for up to 6 households, it says. Like right down here for YouTube TV, it says 6 household accounts. Memberships include national and local news networks. So it's including all the TV stuff, on demand movies. I can see that actually now. I can definitely see that because basically what they're doing is taking away cable and incorporating cable into YouTube. So they are running numbers. And one of the reasons I looked that up and I stopped it there is because $73 times how many 8 million
partners too. As you said, YouTube TV has now over 8 million subscribers.
8 million subscribers is a little over $500,000. And I wanted to stop there so that we can really look at the scale of how much money these companies are really bringing in. Like this one decision is bringing in over $500 million, $584 million off of 8 million subscribers on a $73. Oh, that's how much they're bringing in a month. Subscribed. That's how much they bringing in a month. $500 million a month off of subscriptions alone. And Netflix, since we gonna compare, we gonna do some comparing because they brought up Netflix in their own words. What's the average Netflix subscription? Have to find like the average. Like the standard plan is about $16. How many subscriptions does Netflix have? 260 million. Dang. So in a month, YouTube TV is bringing in billions of dollars. Billions, $500,000, $500 million, over $500 million off of subscription basis alone. Netflix, if we just take their standard plan, mind you, I just subscribed recently because I was saving some money somewhere. You know, I just got my Netflix subscription. I'm a little hype about it. I've been getting my money's worth. Trust me. I get my money's worth from these shows. When downtime comes, it happens. So 16, instead of 8 million users, they have 260 million. And yeah. Netflix is making it some real money. I'm telling you right now, they are making it. Well, off that one plan alone, a month. Just want to make sure I'm reading this right. $4 billion. Netflix breaking in money like that? YouTube TV bringing in $7 billion a year. Netflix is bringing in over half of that in a month. And that's just using a standard plan. It's not exactly accurate. Mind you, that's not exactly accurate. Based off subscriptions alone. But because everybody has different subscription plans for Netflix, they have a bunch of different plans around it all. But it's money. They making some money out there.
The work we have done with NFL on Sunday Ticket has been super well received, and I'm excited for the Super Bowl as well. So,
do you see yourself becoming a major bidder over time for sports?
I think it's a great question. I think we will be ROI focused. So I think the answer, it depends. For us, the NFL Sunday Ticket gives us a great way to work with a very, very good partner with very valuable content and see how it works. So far, it's been great. But I think we will have a disciplined ROI framework. We now have subscription products. We have advertising products. Some of this pulls through demand on our advertising products as well. So I think we'll evaluate it on a case-by-case basis.
Right.
And this is why Google goes through the changes they go through. Especially, you hear the terminologies you use in ROI, return on investment. That's how he's basing everything off of. That's how certain people are losing certain jobs, and that's how they're moving the layoff stuff. I believe they're going to get into the layoffs very shortly, but it depends on their return, and they're making these choices based off the return. What are they getting out of it? It's good that for them to be able to grow, to not hang on to something if it's not returning them what they need. So they make these subscription packages the way they are so that people can watch the sports games on YouTube and stuff, and it can bring more users onto their platform as a whole. So they have more users on their platform as a whole already than Netflix. Only a certain amount of them, percentage of them, are only subscribed to YouTube TV, but they're trying to, the only way that return on investment keeps continuing and growing is more of those users on their platform move off of their cable and other streaming stuff onto YouTube and TV and pay that premium price of $73. I don't know if I'm getting it, but it's quite expensive.
Culture question. You've been going through a number of layoffs. Those of us who try to keep up with the company from the outside have been reading articles about some of the all-hands meetings and frustration that you're hearing from employees and the like. What's happening inside the company right now?
Look, first of all, we see an extraordinary opportunity ahead, given the shifts underway, and we are investing for that future. But I think it's important we are able to create capacity from within, and so some of it is refocusing and reprioritizing within the company, making sure we can make the investments we need. And we are really focused on improving velocity and execution as a company as well. When it impacts people, it's hard, particularly for a company like Google, which over the past 25 years hasn't gone through a moment like this. But we've always deeply cared about our employees. I don't think most companies engage with employees in the transparent way we do, and I think that creates some of this conversation outside. But I've always viewed it as a source of strength for the company, and we'll work through this moment. And I'm excited about the opportunities we have ahead and the innovation we have ahead of us.
What do you think Google looks?
And I really like that. One of the important, and when I put important on this, I mean a million exclamation marks all over the point, everywhere. The biggest thing to look at a company is their culture and how they deal with situations like this. So if the CEO is sitting there, hey, I'm going to move the people I need to move to keep their jobs and grow within so that their careers can grow within here. They're already a culture fit. You're the best culture fit. I'm going to keep the best culture fit people in the company. And this is what we're looking for. You need to stick to this kind of culture. And this culture goes for every company has a different type of culture. Analysts have different culture. All these companies have different cultures. But as a software engineer, your biggest focus on staying at a company is your culture fit. Because that's going to keep you working at a certain level and your happiness at a certain level. But the culture is. And it is. I'm just telling you. That's the thing that's going to keep you happy and up there. That culture fit, I'm telling you, it is so important. It is one of the most important things it is. And the way he answered this question is very professional as well too. And needs a lot of other people, and he kind of took a shot at other companies. He said other companies don't do it like we do it here. And that's kind of the shot that I took from him. He said that we don't do it like that. We don't do it like that. And that's amazing. That is literally great. It's amazing. And that's something that you want to work around and what you want to work for. If you are an engineer or anybody that wants to work in tech, these are things that you have to look for. Don't always look for the check. Mind you, Google is still kind of hard to get into for positions and things like that. And they have certain types of expectations and things. But the biggest thing that you really want to focus on is the whole culture aspect of this tech world and how you're going to be working. In any company, you want to know work in a place that has that culture fit for you. And I just can't stress that point enough. So
opportunities we have ahead and the innovation we have ahead of us.
What do you think Google looks like in 5 years from now?
Look, I think part of what excites me as a company is for the first time we are working on. We've always been a deep technology-focused company at a foundation, but with Gemini and AI, it's the same technology which impacts search, YouTube, cloud, Waymo, and so on. So we can invest in this underlying technology and build both amazing products and businesses on top in a leveraged way. And we are investing for that future. So I'm excited about what's ahead. And if anything, I think it'll be a golden decade of innovation ahead at Google.
And that's how they're going to do it. And one of the best things that Google is going to be able to take from that whole thing, they just said basically their AI surface and why they're focusing so much on Gemini, which used to be Bard, is the next 5 years, that's their focus. So if you're in school right now and you about to graduate and you want to know where it's going to be safe, it's AI. AI is the safest thing right now if you want to be an engineer. And if you want a company, learning your skills around that kind of stuff is what you want to do. He just said it out of his mouth deliberately, probably undeliberately, that AI is where you guys want to focus on, and that's the goal of the company for the next 5 years. And one of the main reasons is because it's going to help everything that they have already, all the infrastructure they already have, it's going to improve it. It's going to improve the infrastructure they already have, and they can build more on top of it. And being able to scale at that rate is a wonderful thing for a company, especially tech companies, and you're going to be able to leverage it more. People do it as content creators. People are going to do it as a bunch of other reasonings and stuff. I leverage AI in this podcast and all of that kind of nonsense. So I'm telling you, it's going to make such a huge difference. You guys won't even notice it. And speaking of that, they also, the news a few days ago covers a little bit of this AI. We did cover this during the announcement, but now the news is getting old a bit, so it pays to be ahead of the news. It literally does, because now they're going to talk a little bit about it as well too.
Rolled out the full version of its next generation AI chatbot called Gemini. It gives users the ability to have conversations with the tech giant's most popular AI model to date. Early previews find some users are impressed, while others are not so sure. So for more on this, I want to bring in Gizmodo reporter Maxwell Zeff. Thanks for joining us, Maxwell. So is Gemini the chat GPT killer that they promised? I read some reviews that suggested that perhaps Google rolled it out a little prematurely because there was a lot of pressure to get something out there.
Right, Anne-Marie. So first off, thanks for having me. So Gemini is really Google's answer to ChatGPT. CEO Sundar Pichai says Gemini is the most advanced AI chatbot on the market, even more powerful than ChatGPT, which is a bold claim. But last week, Google announced all of its AI products would fall under this new Gemini umbrella. This is really Google's attempt at a more unified push into the AI space. And like you mentioned, yes, there was a complicated kind of rollout of this in December. They promised a little bit more than they really could. But now that we're actually getting our hands on this, it's really impressive. And mind you, ChatGPT released nearly a year ago. And 2023 will go down as the year that Google was caught completely flat-footed on AI. But now that they're getting their hands in the game, we're really impressed. And when Google does something like this, it's an earthquake. It's big news.
So you said you're really impressed. So tell me what you're seeing. I sort of like downloaded the app early this morning, and I see how it has like an assistant option, but then like an option for a friend. I think her name's Jenny, the one that I chose anyways, where you could just have kind of a general conversation about your life with her. But tell me what impressed you the most.
Yeah, I think that with Gemini, I think people are really shocked by how human-like some of these AI chatbots are becoming. A professor at the University of Pennsylvania described his experience using Gemini like interacting with a ghost. Now, before you dismiss him as crazy, I mean, let's talk about what a ghost is. I mean,
So these are little things. I don't know if he's gonna say it, but see down here at the bottom, rebrands AI chatbot Bard. Remember last year we talked about the Bard bot a lot? They rebranded this already to catch up to GPT to Gemini. And it's funny because you see this little stuff at the bottom that gives you more information on context of what's going on, but they don't really talk about it all the time. And it'd be nice sometimes to hear it actually come through their mouth and say it, but we already went over that. So
it's something that feels like a human, even though there's not a human there. That's exactly what people are coming to terms with these advanced AI chatbots. They're able to, identify human emotions. They're able to reason with you, explain difficult concepts. And I think that's what's most impressive to me is just the fact that they're fooling people into really thinking like there could be a human on the other side of this.
But now there are like multiple options when it comes to like assistants. I mean, in my head, at home especially, I got to go through like a list of names. I'm like, am I talking to Siri? Am I talking to Alexa? Am I talking to Google, Gemini? Who am I talking to with all the different devices? I guess I'm trying to ask, like, how does this replace some of these other devices? Does it compete with them like a Siri?
So, yeah, it's a great question. I mean, so very soon, folks with Android phones will simply have Gemini as their phone's new digital assistant. You can download the Gemini app, long press your phone's side button, and call up Gemini instead of Google Assistant. It'll be like an AI-enabled Siri, an AI Google Assistant, and it's going to be a lot smarter. I think people are really going to like this. But if you don't have an Android phone, you can also use Gemini in the Google app. And I would just say to watch out for that twinkly Gemini logo anywhere you use Google products. I mean, this is going to be available in a lot of Google's products moving forward in the next year.
All right.
So one thing they didn't cover in that, which in the event, they didn't talk about how you needed to download the app to use it, especially for the new Samsung phones and stuff. They did not talk about at all how you needed an app to be able to use Gemini. Gemini is just supposed to be pre-built into the phone and just do it. And right now, I would say Gemini is beating Siri because Apple has not created that release for Siri yet. It has not incorporated their new AI into Siri to be able to compete with Samsung and things like that. That's why I said that they're leagues away. Somehow Siri ended up hearing me call for her, even though she's turned off when I don't have my headphones on, my AirPods on. That's a little bit scary. She probably heard me talking shit and didn't like it, but it's not intentionally. Don't get mad at me. It's not intentional. I'm just talking about what's going on now in the world that we are in, and it just seems like it's going to be beating it from now on, and nothing is going to really top it. One thing that definitely, and I'm always going to be definitely going to be curious on how stuff's going to change, but we're definitely going to see a leap for our assistants, and this is going to go beyond just our cell phones. Like our cell phone assistants, we're going to see the leap. I remember when Siri first came out, and it was like one of the coolest things ever. This is like AI systems like the new Alexa and all that stuff. This is like 2.0 version. Alexa needs a version of this. Siri needs a version of this. Google Alphabet, she heard me again somehow. Google and Alphabet already have a version of this, which is Gemini right now. ChatGPT's already has apps out there so people can use it, but another version of it is going to be when Microsoft's phones that they release, they're probably going to use some version of this as well too.